WGNO, ABC 26. This is Good Morning New Orleans.
Cultural heritage was the last thing on anyone's minds after Hurricane Katrina, but a day after the storm, several curators from the Louisiana State Museum re-entered the city to see what they could preserve. So joining us this morning to talk about Katrina and Beyond, it's an exhibit at the Presbyterian on Jackson Square, is Sam Rykels. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's my pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about the exhibit itself.
Well, this exhibit, when we came back, the reason we came back is the roof had been blown off the Mint. And when we came back into town, we realized that Katrina was an event that would forever change the history of South Louisiana, not just the city of New Orleans. And we started collecting images to begin with, and then three-dimensional pieces. So we decided that we would do an exhibit, and as time has moved on, that exhibit has become as much about the recovery and the rebirth of the city as it was about the storm itself. And you know, we're kind of the opinion that the storm now is history, but the aftermath is still being lived out.
How did you guys decide when it came to artifacts, what you wanted to preserve? How did you decide on that?
Well, with any museum artifact, the thing that you want is the story. A lot of the objects are pretty ordinary. We have a hatchet that was used to chop away out of an attic. That's an important story. That's an important kind of iconic story for the city, but the hatchet is the one that you would go buy in the hardware store today. So it's a simple object, but a compelling story.
How was it to return to the city and begin while the city is still inundated with water, while people are still struggling, trying to help them, trying to recover, and at the same time trying to build this exhibit? How was that?
It's been a very interesting thing. Normally when we do an exhibit, we're not part of the story, but we ended up kind of being part of the story. So there's a lot of people that say, well, I don't remember it that way. That's not the way it was. But, you know, we're telling a bigger story. It's not a story just about us, even though we were part of the story.
What are some of the emotions that you're seeing as people visit this exhibit and take in the images and look at the artifacts? What feedback are you getting?
Well, there's particularly that attic kind of little scenario. We actually built an attic, and the axe is displayed in the attic along with the oral history. That's a very emotional thing. A lot of people are wondering if maybe and we've actually provided an opt-out, so they don't actually have to go through that. And half of the exhibit is a very emotional exhibit, and the other half is kind of almost a pure science exhibit, where we talk about what happened, why it happened. We talk about coastal wetland loss. We talk about levee failure, real forensic kind of what happened. 80% of the visitors that come to the Presbyterian, the exhibit will be in the Presbyterian, are from out of town. So really what we're trying to do is keep that story alive and keep it in the minds of people and kind of let people know what people in South Louisiana do. They live with hurricanes. That's what we do.
Because it's important to tell the world for people who didn't live through the storm.
That's right. That's right, because one of our key messages is that no matter where you live, there's always something that will threaten you or your family, your livelihood, and your home.
Tell me, if someone wants to go check out the exhibit, how can they do that?
Well, they're going to have to wait a few months. It doesn't open until October 26th is the first day. We are having a press conference tomorrow and kind of rolling out the exhibit. So, but the actual exhibit won't open until August 26th.
Okay, and when
October 26th.
October 26th, and when it does open, cost, things like that?
It'll be just the standard museum admittance, $6, and you know that, and then there's a combination ticket that'll get you in all three buildings.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking about it. We appreciate it. Thank you for the
pleasure.
work you're doing as well.